All right, welcome back, everybody. And it's my pleasure to introduce Dr. Stephen Rogelberg. Stephen also received his PhD at the University of Connecticut, like Jeff did. And Stephen is a professor of organizational science and professor of psychology at the University of North Carolina at Charlotte. In addition, he serves as Director of Organizational Science, Director of Industrial and Organizational Psychology, and is the Founder-Director of the Organizational Science Consulting and Research Unit. Stephen has published extensively on such issues as organizational research methods, team effectiveness, health, and employee well-being. He is the editor-in-chief of the Encyclopedia of Industrial and Organizational Psychology and the Handbook of Research Methods in Industrial and Organizational Psychology. He also is a special feature guest editor for Organizational Research Methods, and he's on the editorial boards of the Journal of Management and Organizational Dynamics. Stephen is also the incoming program chair for the Society of Industrial Organizational Psychology. Today, Stephen is going to be talking about survey non-response, and it's my pleasure to welcome Stephen to Virginia Commonwealth University in CARMA, and please join me in doing that.
Thank you very much. It's really a pleasure to be here. Thank you, Larry. Well, today we get to talk about non-response, which is a topic that I find very interesting and certainly relevant given just the sheer number of surveys. Well, first we're going to start with discussing survey non-response in general, and then we'll talk about response rates to help provide some context. But then the focus is really on non-response bias. And first we're going to get into exactly what is bias. But then, and I think the greatest contribution of this talk, hopefully, is we're going to lay out a process, a set of 8 techniques called the N-bias approach, which is really designed to help a researcher assess whether their results are free of bias. Okay. First, the basis of this talk is from a paper that Jeff Stanton and I produced in Organizational Research Methods. So thank you to Jeff for co-authoring this. All right, so as I just indicated, there are millions of employee surveys. In fact, I think you would be hard-pressed to find anyone who hasn't been asked to complete a survey in probably within the last few months. So they're all out there. People are being asked to complete surveys. There's a whole host of reasons why they're being asked to complete surveys, from diagnosis of issues and problems, looking for long-term trends, program impact. A more subtle one is this notion of adding a communication channel. And yes, while we think of surveys as being a form of communication from the employee to management, interestingly, you'll often hear managers talking about how a survey is a tool for them to communicate to employees what's important to them. So there's lots of reasons folks conduct surveys, but the value of surveys is dependent upon what? Well, response. You have to have respondents, and you have to have high